This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Friday morning. Tune is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, SiriusXM channel 158. It's Gil Alexander. That right there is my little buddy Kelly Bidlin, producer number 9. So much more than a producer was happening.
Not much. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien.
All right, let's do Spanish dialogue. Right
Es un viernes.
Well, it's not un viernes, but sure.
It's a Friday.
It is a Friday. I suppose it is. Football Fridays. Chris Fallica will join us to talk college football. He'll actually join us a lot earlier than he normally does. He'll join us momentarily to give his college football best bets coming up. Mark Borchard on the World Series, which starts tonight. Paul Carr, Premier League. Dr. Bob, coming off a loss, which is a newsbreaker, right? That hasn't happened this year. Dr. Bob to continue with his 9-2 season. By the way, you know Bob lost, and people were giving him crap on Twitter. So
yeah,
funny. It's
what a bum. I'm fading him today, Gil. I'm going the other way.
But Bob always takes the bait.
I know.
It's like, okay, Bob, you don't have to respond to everybody. Bob will
you're
be here.
9-2, man. Like, you're 9-2.
Fezzik Fridays as well. Says right there, 2-time winner of the Super Contest. Not sure if you all have ever heard of that. But he will talk about all things on his mind, including the events of yesterday. I'm looking forward to when Fezzik comes on and talks about the events of yesterday. And he'll, mark my words, he'll preface everything by saying, no one has had this take yet, and we will have had that take on the show yesterday. I promise you. That's what I'm looking forward to the most with it. But he'll have that take, he'll have plays, we'll do all that. Last thing about that yesterday, and I promise we won't talk about it unless something else breaks this morning until Fezzik comes on later. But we did it. Obviously, we talked about the NBA betting scandal, Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, most prominently named yesterday. We were on the air when the press conference happened, and so we were doing everything in real time. And once we were done, Kelly, those kinds of shows are difficult to do because you want to get the facts right. Yeah. You don't want to mislead. So it's a very deliberate kind of show.
And you know it's a developing story with plenty more to come out.
You know it's a developing situation. I went home and I'm like, okay. I was like, now let's see how the mainstream media, let's see what their performance is on all this. And boy, did they not disappoint with the ridiculousness. Chuck Todd, former host of Meet the Press on NBC. I'm not sure what Chuck Todd does now. But
let's see what that rascal's up to.
But Chuck Todd was like, simple solution, ban all the prop bets. Ban them all. Mike Florio, most probably known from Pro Football Talk at NBC Sports.
Yeah, got that.
Prediction, all props will disappear. Okay, those are the first of the day where you're like, okay, guys, listen, I know this. I know you guys think this is an amazingly unique take on stuff, which is the first thing that drives me crazy, right? But the second thing is, it's not quite that simple, right? The money matters. And so even if you believe, maybe you believe that the books are going to acquiesce to leagues if they request it. No, they're not. Maybe you think states are going to, push forth legislation to do so. No, the states will figure out because they're in on it, right? They have a cut of the money. How much money are being made from props? There is probably some hybrid solution somewhere in the middle, but they're not going to disappear. It's not going to happen that way. And then the worst of all, and I think most people saw this last night, was on Inside the NBA. Kenny Smith immediately went to gambling addiction.
Yeah. He
also doubled down on it later. Like, it wasn't just, he didn't go to the well once. He went to the well then after the ball game last night also. And I don't know what, Kenny's, it's just sort of like, and good on Charles Barkley for immediately just telling him, Kenny, it's not it's not addiction, it's stupidity, right? And I really appreciated that Barkley did that. And Kenny Smith what Rozier was allegedly doing was fraud. It's not addiction. And then later when he tried to sort of massage what he was saying on the subsequent broadcast, he was saying, oh, well, addiction leads to bad decision making. So if what he was intimating then was that somehow Rozier got himself in a pickle of addiction that led him to have to do this, okay, maybe he was trying to finesse his way out of it. But that's not what he intended in the beginning. What he intended in the beginning was the act of what Rozier himself itself, the act itself was somehow addiction, a representation of addiction. It was just such a ridiculously dumb take. And so anyway, that was pretty much the day in listening to opinions on this matter. Whenever non-gambling folks sort of dive into the gambling pool, it's always one of those things where you just shake your head. You're like, good God. I know you guys are good at what you do, but you're not expert on this.
I really enjoy Kenny Smith too.
I do too.
That was tough to watch.
I do too.
I think this applies to a lot of people yesterday, and I don't know. I could do 3 more hours on this. I really don't want to. I'm mentally exhausted from all of that yesterday, and we won't. But just the hypocrisy of some stuff too, right? Like Kenny, you've taken money from
That's right.
MGM and FanDuel, I think from doing commercials.
You're doing commercials, man.
And you go right. Your first thing right away is addiction. You go to. So
God.
did you think about that before you took money from those companies to do that stuff is tough. I mean, ESPN dropping their branding for ESPN Bet for the whole day. I get it. But
that's also gutless.
Yeah, you made your bed, sleep in it. Like, you're taking the money from bettors. Like, this is who you are now. This is part of the company. This is part of the bottom line is running a sports book. Own it.
It was a pretty embarrassing day for mainstream media on this. To the games, starting with football last night. Minnesota, Chargers. Well, another victory for guessing lines instinct. Chargers roll 37-10. Yesterday, I'm almost apologetic that I gave the case for the opposite side, right? I say, well, here's where the Chargers are probably being, even though I had a bet at -2.5 on the Chargers, they're probably being propped up more than they deserve to be based on all the advanced stats. Nope, Chargers rolled. And really, the nadir, the low point for the Chargers yesterday was on their first drive when it looked like Herbert had thrown a pick 6 to Isaiah Rodgers, but the catch didn't survive the ground.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, and that was the second play of the game for the Chargers. From that point forward, it was all Chargers. They went up 7-0 on their first drive. They went up 14-0 on their second. At 14-3, then Dicker missed a field goal, which was a big news story, right? That was something. But then the next time they got the ball, 21-3. It would go to 24-3. But Carson Wentz was 15 of 27 for 144 yards. Carson Wentz was wincing the entire game. He was in pain. But he wouldn't leave. By the way, J.J. McCarthy was the safety quarterback, so he was not the guy that would come in. So just a blowout. And I don't know what to read from it other than Minnesota's kind of who we thought we were, and then the Chargers are kind of a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Chargers very tough to figure out, and Vikings. I think this is the last we see of Wentz, don't you?
Yeah,
I think McCarthy's coming back in, and this is we don't know how much of a benching injury it was. I think it was a little bit of both personally, but after what you saw out of Carson Wentz last night, and McCarthy's been practicing, I think this is the last we're seeing of Wentz suit up, and but. For the guy playing with as many injuries as he seemingly did, I will give him credit for that. I mean, God, he was in pain after every play, it felt like.
Last night, National Basketball Association. We'll talk more about football, obviously, coming up.
Crazy, man.
But last night, doubleheader in the NBA, where the Oklahoma City Thunder are now 2-0, and both games they won in double overtime.
Yeah, might not surprise you to hear this, but the first time in NBA history that's happened.
Yes.
To start a season with 2 double overtime games.
Yeah, so that's an amazing sort of anomaly. And then for those who missed it late night, the Dub show. Steph Curry taking over late in a game where Aaron Gordon had maybe one of the greatest stat lines I've ever seen in my life. Aaron Gordon had 50 points in defeat for the Nuggets.
Yep.
On 17 of 21 shooting, 10 of 11 from behind the arc, 6 of 6 from the stripe. And yet, Steph drops a 40-burger, and that's all that mattered in the end. Warriors beat the Nuggets in overtime, 42, by the way, for Steph when all was said and done. He got that layup there at the end. And I want to ask you this, Kelly, just again, real early take on the National Basketball Association season, because we had Drew come in here and say, hey, Wembanyama, most points season, best season point total or point average, I should say, leading the league in scoring is the proper way to say that. But let me just, through the first 3 nights of the NBA season, SGA, and both games were double overtime, but he had 35 in the first game. He had 55, his career high last night. Gordon, I mentioned, with 50. With 50. Luka had 43. Ant-Man had 41. Wembanyama had 40. Maxey had 40. Şengün had 39. Giannis had 37. Steph, as I mentioned, had 42. Ja had 35, for God's sakes. Edgecombe had 34 as a rook. We're 3 nights into the season. Is this going to be what this NBA season is? That it's just going to be scoring madness from guys?
You set it up that way, Gil? Yeah, I'll say yes, because I think we've seen this. I mean, it was very much a thing a year ago. I don't really know why it would change, and it's the same.
This feels higher than that, though.
We had an absurd number of 50-point games, 40-point games last season. Honestly,
in the first 3 nights.
I'm not that. I'm saying in the season overall. You're asking me about the season in general, right? I think this is, of course, it's a crazy first 3 nights. Yeah, that it's out of control, but. I think this, especially the names that you went through, right? Let's take out maybe Aaron Gordon and VJ Edgecombe for now, but this is where we're at with star power in the NBA, right? Like there is amazing high-level scorers in this league, and it almost gives more credit at the end of the day always to Nikola Jokic because he's so hard to top for MVP, even with all these guys that are so good night in and night out.
Messed around at a triple-double once again.
Just quietly had a triple-double.
Yeah.
I had 3.5 at the Nuggets last night. That kind of stunk. But it made me feel like the NBA was coming back to, normalcy after all day yesterday.
What do you think about the first shot of Horford, Al Horford in a Warriors uniform? Horford, 39 years old. Steph, 37. Jimmy Buckets, 36. Draymond, 35.
I think the Golden State has been looking for an Al Horford type for years. I think he will be great late in the season.
I do too.
Gil, back-to-back tonight. He's going to take the night off on back-to-backs against the Blazers.
You got to manage that load, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Coming back, Chris Fallica on college football. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If you're serious about football betting, VSiN's got your weekend game plan. Fridays at 7 p.m., it's the Circa Friday Football Invitational. Saturday morning, VSiN's college football tailgate show at 9 a.m., breaking down matchups, props, and big-time bets. Later that night, join the football contest show as the sharpest betting minds give you their picks for Sunday's game. And Sunday at 9 a.m., lock in with Mitch and Pauly on VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show. Your final stop before kickoff. Check out the full lineup at VSiN.com and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
So, Pauly, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
Coming up on the next edition of Follow the Money, preview the NFL slate and Game 1 of the World Series with all the props. Chuck Edel to give out his best bets for the upcoming weekend in the NFL. Likewise with Mike Somich. Dave Ross stands to win $69,000. What will he hedge on the World Series? And Matty V, Matt Vasgersian to talk World Series and props. Follow the Money 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, now Sirius XM Channel 158. Check out the website for all the betting tools and analysis.
VSiN, the sports betting network.
First Bet is the official racing partner of VSiN, and they're thrilled to bring an exclusive offer to bet the Breeders' Cup World Championships. Use promo code VSiNBC. That's VSINBC. And you'll be entered to win a VIP Vegas experience when you deposit and bet $200. Plus, when you deposit and bet just $100, you'll get a 1-year VSiN Pro subscription for access to exclusive content, picks, and more. Bet the Breeders' Cup with First Bet, the official racing partner of VSiN, with promo code VSINBC at first.com/VSiN. That's the number one, SD.com/VSIN. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate y'all. This is from Los Vegas 514. Yo, I was looking deeper into this investigation, and I didn't see the names Gil, Clear, Specs, Alexander, and Kelly the Hair Bidlin on the list.
That's right.
Thank goodness.
That's right.
Stewart.
Unscathed.
There's still time.
There's still time.
Greg Nersessian. He says, the only thing worse than starting the show with a mainstream media take is starting with WNBA analysis. Just kidding, partially. Love the show as always. Thank you, Greg. K-Flow, Chuck Todd's and Mike Florio's comments were totally on brand for both of them. Apparently, tradings on non-public information only happens in the player prop market, as opposed to, say, congressional members buying, selling stocks on non-public information. Seems like that's a bigger problem. The Better Life with a question for Paul Carr, who's coming up on the show later, talk Premier League with us. A-Rel, the NBA reminds me of Summer League rec play, run and gun. And Paul M., I failed to mention this on the Aaron Gordon stat sheet. Gordon's performance last night where he had 10 threes, tied an opening night record set by, you know who?
Stephen Curry.
Nope. Think about yesterday. Terry Rozier.
That's amazing.
Of all the historical quirks, a.k.a. he says Rosier, as they pronounced his last name during the presser yesterday. Rosier and the Toronto Rangers. Yeah.
That's a great stat. Great tweet. Just pull it up. You want to know how many different players in the NBA scored 40 or more points in a game last year?
Oh, yes, please.
55.
Okay, well, what are we up to now already? What did I say already?
Like 8?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to shatter that at this pace. Yeah. And that was kind of my point on that. Let's bring in Christopher Fallica. You may know him as The Bear. El Oso. He works at Fox Sports, part of Big Noon Saturdays each and every Saturday for college football at Fox. But he's got his own podcast empire over there, The Bear Bets Podcast. Pro football, college football. I don't know what else he has a podcast on. Chris Fallica now from a luxurious hotel near you. Where are you, man? What's going on there?
Some might say it's posh, which in Bloomington, Indiana, literally called the posh hotel, or just the posh. It actually, and it is a beautiful room, as you can probably see behind me.
Yeah.
Very, very, very comfortable accommodations. One minor, and Kelly, you'll appreciate this. Like business-wise, it's not very feasible. There really isn't there's the desk along, surface along the wall.
Yeah.
But there really isn't like a desk chair, which is kind of a problem for me. I'm sitting on like an ottoman kind of right now in front of the table here. So,
that's a problem. You got to have the furniture right. Yeah.
First world problems.
Yeah,
but for a vacation, it is quite luxurious.
Does Fox put you up at a hotel like that, or do you make an executive decision to go to a hotel like that?
Oh, I wherever I get the whenever Daisy sends me the link to where I'm staying, that's where I go.
Yeah,
I have zero say.
Yeah, that's what they do for us here at VSiN when A&G goes on the road. Except
when you went to Arizona for the Super Bowl.
Oh, right.
They did too.
The College World Series. Oh no, that wasn't us. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude, we went to Mandalay Bay for the Super Bowl Media Day.
We did go
what
to
are you
Mandalay
complaining about?
We did go to Mandalay Bay. That's right.
Did
Chris,
you have a room there?
What's that?
Did you have a room in Mandalay for the night?
No, details. Stop. But we should have stopped there right before that. Okay, Chris, your Miami Hurricanes. They lay an egg, to say the least. I believe that's the technical term, against Louisville. What do you make of that performance? Did you see it coming? Were you just embarrassed while it was happening? What was your feel as an alumnus?
I was frustrated while it was happening. We talked a little bit about it last week. Like when I was kind of like, I don't know if I'd be laying 13 points or whatever it was. Then there was a ton of action on that game last week. I was surprised but not shocked. I mean, we know Jeff Brom has a history of pulling these big upsets, and he pulled another one. I think The two concerns for me out of the game were, number one, Miami's offensive line had been so good all year long, and they were able to run and dominate the line of scrimmage, and they couldn't do that last week. And I think that put Carson Beck in some obvious passing situations where he tried to make a couple too many plays and wasn't willing to take check down or whatever, and cost him. And then the second was just the utter, despite everything, despite the interceptions, despite not being able to run the ball, they had the ball, you get 2 timeouts, ball on the 40-yard line, like a minute 20 to go, and the lack of urgency on that final drive, it almost felt like they were playing for like a 47-yard field goal, to like send the game to overtime instead of stretching the ball downfield to win and avoid going to overtime. Like that's what concerned me. And look, Shannon Dawson was very upfront and in the open this week about taking ownership, and that they're saying all the right things. And the good thing is that we've seen teams with one-offs this year. You saw Alabama embarrassed by Florida State in the opener. Teams lose games. It happens. Texas was terrible last week. Kentucky, they did win. But teams suffer losses. It's college football. It's going to happen. And now the fact that Miami gets an opportunity to kind of get right against Stanford, I think they will. I think they'll win pretty big against Stanford tomorrow night. It's a team they should dominate. Up front, the Cardinals already have lost by 24 points against BYU and blown out in other games as well. Feels like a good spot tomorrow night for Miami. Long term, I mean, last week we went into the week thinking that they were one of the best 3 teams in college football and had a legitimate chance to win the national title. Wouldn't completely jump off them right now, but the fact that they no longer control their destiny to get to the ACC championship game in Charlotte, that's kind of the underlying story, rather, where Miami's loss last week kind of helps the ACC, because the ACC now might be looking at multiple bids for the college football playoff, assuming Miami does go 11-1.
That is, of course, the quirk now of all this. Let me just ask a few follow-up questions. One, who was it that Stanford beat last week? I forget for a second. Could you say it out loud?
Stanford beat Florida State.
Thank you very much.
I was unable to stay awake for the end of the game. I was very tired, and then woke up on Sunday morning and saw the Cardinal. Hold on.
I knew who they beat. I was just trying to poke fun at Kelly here.
That does not feel pertinent to this conversation.
I just was curious. And then 2, does the 4 interception performance by Carson Beck eliminate him from the Heisman? In other words, what would
I think it does.
It does,
it's
right?
Hard it's hard to overcome that with the number of people now who are in front of him in the situations and the players where it looks like we're steamrolling towards an Ohio State, Indiana Big Ten championship game. You're going to get maybe Ty Simpson in the SEC championship. Like it feels like it's going to be kind of one of those guys. I tried to make the case for Diego Pavia deep down in my heart. Do I think Pavia can win? No, but I mean, 7-1 from where he was last week, 18-1 I think on Saturday. Gunnar Stockton, do I think he can win? Maybe if Georgia runs the table and wins the SEC title, but I think ultimately we're looking at, unfortunately for bettors, the 3 short shots who all right now kind of, as the odds reflect,
Mendoza
all have pretty much the same.
Fernando Mendoza right now plus 340, Ty Simpson plus 350, Julian Sayin from Ohio State at 4-1, and Pavia at 7-1. Beck all the way down to.
Well, I would love to ask, or maybe it's a conversation once you get later in the season, maybe if Indiana and Ohio State play in the Big Ten championship game. I know you talked about Joe Pita and the ticket he has on Fernando Mendoza to win the Heisman. Like, is that a ticket that he feels that he might be able to monetize in an Indiana-Ohio State Big Ten championship game? Or would the Ty Simpson factor maybe concern him? Be curious to see if he's able to make some money off that ticket, even if Mendoza doesn't ultimately win.
It's a good question to ask as we approach that, if the circumstances remain the same. By the way, Beck all the way down to 60-1. Last thing here, we'll get all your other picks on the other side. You said you expect Miami to roll here against Stanford. Does that mean you're laying the 30 or the 29.5 or whatever you can get?
Yeah, I am. This feels like 42-10 type of deal. Stanford really does not have a dynamic offense at all. They do not have a Chris Bell, who ripped apart Miami's secondary last week. They do not have an Isaac Brown, who is the first running back really to run on Miami this year. This this feels like a spot where Miami is able to name the number. And I think coming off of what we saw last week, they will be itching to get back out there and feel good about themselves again.
Okay. And then right now, if I were to ask you, who in your heart of hearts gets through a tournament at the end of the year? Who is your opinion is the national champion? If you had to guess right now, it is?
It's Ohio State. I think they're the most complete team. Sayin continues to grow week in and week out. Tate and Smith are just dynamic wide receivers. You would expect those backs to get better as the year goes on. So defense has been awesome. It's Ohio State. And I'm hoping the books will honor that, Kelly, that Julian Sayin 125-1 on the Heisman last year.
Just going to bring this up.
That for this year?
We'll check. I'll check during the break, yeah.
All right. All of Chris's remaining picks on the other side. Then I'll ask him, if I take Ohio State off the board, then who's the national champion? We'll do that. Chris Fallica on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Got a good thing coming. Just wait and see. It's a good.
The NBA betting season is tipping off, and VSiN's got you covered with our brand new NBA betting guide. We've packed it with key insights and betting trends, previews of all 30 teams, and of course, our experts' season-long best bets. It's the playbook you want in your hands before the first tip. The guide is exclusive for VSiN Pro members, so don't miss out. Sign up today at VSiN.com/subscribe and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to bet smarter? Start with Smarter Insights. Right now you can check out Greg Peterson's Game 1 World Series pick. Special Numbers Game Investigation reveals the World Series begins tonight. Adam Burke's World Series MVP breakdown and First Strike Podcast UFC 321 predictions. Remember, that starts early tomorrow morning with the prelims. And later today, you can check out Zach Cohen's NBA picks and props, Jonathan Davis's NHL best bets, and Matt Humans and Wes Reynolds' college football best bets. Unlock every article with VSiN Pro. The Sports Equinox Special gives you full access through May 1st, 2026 for just $120. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe and stay sharp through spring. Skill Alexander, that's Kelly Bidley. Chris Fallica, kind enough to join us once again from the Posh Hotel. Mm-hmm. Where are you again, Chris? Where are you exactly?
Bloomington, Indiana.
Bloomington, Indiana.
UCLA, Indiana tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the way, Kelly, thank you very much, by the way, for texting that to me. Look at date placed. Is the date placed on there? No.
I just got one at cash.
Settled date.
Or settled, yeah, because it did not cash, Gil.
It's a good look when you move forward and squint.
2024 Heisman Trophy, 20773. Julian Sayin, Ohio State, 100-1.
Whew.
Didn't catch. You think if I send that over to John and Murray and Jeff Sherman, those guys, and maybe try and say it's 2025, they'll honor that?
As long as you really obviously scrub out the year part, like take like the yellow highlighter on your phone and cover that up. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll come up with a reason not to pay you.
It'll be all right. I'll explain it to John. It was an error, and we're good.
All right. Before we get back into your picks, what if I take Ohio State off the board? Who is in your opinion, who is the team then that rises to the top in a playoff? That's why
this is where it gets fun because I went through this exercise with Joel Klatt on the Joel Klatt show this week off of an idea that I had about, the preface of it was, if you're doing a national championship draft, how many teams get selected before Notre Dame? Just based on how good Notre Dame is playing right now, despite the fact that they have 2 losses. I drew the number 1 pick, and I obviously got Ohio State, which was good. He took Indiana second. I don't think that I would have. I probably would have gone Alabama, only because I think right now they are the team that has proven that they can handle 4 straight games against elite competition over a 4-week stretch. And that's what it's going to take in the college football playoff. You're going to need to beat 3 or 4 top 12 teams. And the fact that Alabama has proven it and done it, that means a lot to me. Notre Dame, though, would be the team. If I were making a bet right now, I think Notre Dame would be very much worth the bet. If I were to make a bet right now, Georgia would be a team that I would be interested in making a bet, because I think what we've seen with Georgia is that they are, and Kirby Smart has alluded to this, they're hard to kill. You've been down double digits on the road at Tennessee, down double digits on the road at Auburn. You couldn't get a stop against Ole Miss last week until you could, and you dominated the fourth quarter. There's something about that team, like the special ones, it may not always look pretty, but they get the job done, and I would expect Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann to be able to figure a little bit more about that defense out, and they would not be a team that I'd want to face in the college football playoff.
We got your play from about Miami last segment, laying 30 with or 29.5 is what Chris got the Hurricanes at. Let's stay in the ACC. NC State at Pitt, the great Mason Heinchel and Pitt. NC State 6.5-point dogs. What do you like here?
Well, I thought of you when I picked NC State and put the NC State bet in just to go against you. Look, NC State's a team that they played Notre Dame a couple of weeks back, and it was a 4-point game in the third quarter before turnovers, and the game kind of snowballed down the hill. C.J. Bailey, the quarterback for NC State, is a guy who a lot of teams are going to be looking at bringing in the portal next year. You look at Pitt, they've gotten hot and won some games, but it's against dead team walking BC, dead team walking Florida State, dead team walking Syracuse, like the bottom feeders. NC State, I think, look, this is still a team that gave Virginia its only loss of the year. So I think 6.5 is a little too pricey here, and I grabbed the Wolfpack plus the points and even nibbled on the plus 200 on the money line.
I didn't expect for it to be ACC day, but nonetheless, we're here. SMU and Wake. What do you got there?
the new conference of champions, the ACC. Look, SMU, I don't think they are as good as they were last year. Scheduling spot where you got the big win at Clemson on the road last week. You got Miami coming in next week. Now you go to Wake, who had Georgia Tech beaten. We had a blatantly missed offsides call against Georgia Tech, which would have given Wake Forest a first down, victory formation, game over. I think whether it's Ashford or Purdue, or Purdue rather, a quarterback for Wake, I think the difference really isn't great on the offensive side of the ball. Give Jake Dickert a ton of credit for the job that he's come in. He's open, embraced it. He's like, look, we coach to our strengths here. We're not making excuses for not having the best roster in the league. He's coaching to put his team in the best position to win. I think they're going to be in a great position to give SMU their first regular season ACC loss tomorrow.
All right, big game. LSU, A&M. A&M undefeated, not mentioned in the previous conversation about what team might rise to the top in a college football playoff. The Aggies are 2.5-point road favorites at Tiger Stadium at Baton Rouge. What do you got here?
The only top 30 defense that A&M has played this year was Auburn, and that was at Kyle Field. And A&M was held to a season low 16 points, season low in yardage, season low in yards per play. So now you're getting this week a really good defense in LSU. Next week you're going to get a really good defense in Missouri. I know Whit Weeks is not playing again for LSU, but this is kind of the fulcrum game for Brian Kelly and for LSU. You win here, and you get the off week before the Alabama game. You lose here. All you're hearing about for the other week is how you're going to be fired and you suck and you're 7-5 is on the table. But you win here, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, you got Alabama. Why can't we beat Alabama? And then the games that they have at the end of the year. So prior to that win at Notre Dame, like A&M had lost like 13 straight road games against ranked teams. It had not typically been a spot that they flourished. So this is going to really determine whether A&M truly has turned the corner now under Mike Elko, or if it's just a little bit more of the same. I think it's an obvious spot here to take LSU plus a 2.5 at home. Tiger Stadium at night, always never a bargain for the team coming in there.
We used to, when Jay Rude, former vice president of racing sports at MGM, Matt Brown, Dave Fair, and I, when we used to do shows down at the Beau Rivage, and we'd fly over Tiger Stadium, Matt Brown, our buddy Matt, who went to LSU, would say, "You know what I did down," as we're flying over. See that Tiger Stadium? Here's what I did down there. Okay, there are these props. I won't get into what he was talking about specifically because we wouldn't want me to do that. But we have these.
In Baton Rouge, I can only imagine.
There are props that exist about number of conference teams, number of teams within a conference, specific conferences, will get to the playoffs. The Big Ten's number is set at 3.5. The under juiced heavily. You are willing to make this play despite the juice.
I am. I just don't see a path for the Big Ten to get 4 teams. I think they have 3 of the best 5 or 6 teams in the country with Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State. But after that, you're banking on either Illinois winning out at 10-2 without really a good win. You're banking on USC winning out, going 10-2, which would mean that they will have won at Oregon. And that would also put Oregon at 10-2, potentially without really a great win if you don't factor in the Penn State win as great. So I don't think USC is going to go to Austin and win. They haven't won a road game like that in a hell of a long time. So I think we got those 3, Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon in. I think the SEC ultimately is going to get 4. I think the ACC, because of the Miami loss last week, is going to get 2. I think you're going to get Notre Dame. I think you're going to get 1 team from the Big 12, and I think you're going to get the Group of 5 reps. So I just don't see how the Big 10 gets 4 teams. So again, if you're not willing to lay it with lay that hefty juice, see maybe this is available at DraftKings. So maybe I haven't tried it yet anywhere. Maybe you can parlay this with something that maybe Dodgers to win the World Series with under Big Ten. That might bring both prices down a little bit. That might be something you could play around with, or something else that you might be able to bring the 330 down or 300 down if you're not willing to swallow that big of a number.
Chris Fallica is a modest guy. He may not like that I'm bringing this up because maybe he's superstitious as well. But would you share with people where you are in a specific contest, how well you're doing? You want to do that?
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Currently right now leading the Circa Friday Football Invitational, which obviously a long way to go there. And I'm fourth place in the Westgate Super Bowl contest, which college football contest, which it's been a good run so far. I'm 2.5 points back, and just have to. I try and put myself in this mindset of just avoiding the terrible week. Like 3 and 4 is your worst week, that's going to be okay. But if you can just knock out the 4 and 3 or 5 and 2 the rest of the way, I'll be where I need to be.
Fourth place. Thank you, Chris. Enjoy the weekend.
You got it.
Coming back.
You guys do.
World Series with Mark Borchard next.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim is the only thing like it in the world.
Join the guru, John Hansen, at the intersection of prop betting and fantasy sports on Prop Points, only on VSiN.
Lesson number 1, Patty's back. I still believe that Caleb Williams is not any good. And, other than Rome Odunze, I don't trust anyone that can't run the ball.
John and his guests will help you find the connection between the two and give you his expert advice on how to capitalize when a number is too good to pass up. Prop Points, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back on the numbers game, live from Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Skill Alexander. That right there is Kelly Bidlin, everybody.
Hey,
look at that man with a haircut. Got a haircut, didn't you?
Got a haircut. Went to the barber shop.
Beard looking good. Hair looking good. Never with hair out of place, this kid.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're welcome. Yeah. I don't know if that was a compliment. I'm just saying. So it's all you coiffed well every day. Yeah.
Got to take the time and effort to get it right, you know? To try to get a little better every day.
How much time do you think you spend making sure that happens?
6 minutes? I don't know.
I don't own a comb. That's me. CW Blue Jay on Twitter. Despite the serious nature of what dropped yesterday, please tell me you saw the spoof DK massive arrest tweet offering 30% profit boost. That was an A+ tweet. Very funny. P.S. Let's go Blue Jays. Yeah, everybody was.
We saw them all.
Everybody had the AI DK thing, which, by the way, DK is, here's the thing, and this is why I was saying yesterday to the crew, I was like, no jokes, because we wanted to get all the details of the scandal right yesterday. DK is just that dumb that initially it was like possibly plausible. I was like, are they? Oh, that's right, it's a joke. Chris Heath, Stanford, who beat Florida State outright last week as 18-point underdogs. Chris is in on my joke with you. Coach Harry Ellis.
We're on to basketball team's probably not going to be any good, right? We're on to baseball season, Gil. We're on to baseball season.
That's right.
I didn't see a second of the game.
Coach Harry, I'm not reading that.
That's where Kelly's Florida State fandom has gone this year. It was. You were making fun of me before the season opener, right? Because I was like, oh, Bama's going to kill him. Like, this is going to be bad. And then it was Florida State won. And then it skyrocketed, and it has completely crashed back down.
Ben Grunwell, the fourth Big Ten team that could make the playoff, could be Michigan, he says. Double-digit favorites until Ohio State at home. Not to say they should win that, but ... Mariners Geek, I love crack. Great convo from yesterday. Quote, something stinks and I don't know what it is, unquote. Bill yesterday on the scandal was great. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Series begins tonight. We spent a lot of time investigating this, and that is the case. Begins tonight between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Dodgers minus 215 series favorites. The Blue Jays plus 180 on the comeback. Mark Borchard joins us from an undisclosed location somewhere in the desert to discuss his betting thoughts on this, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at BaseWinner, BaseWinner.com, and, of course, his Bet US Baseball show on a daily basis. Mark, happy World Series, man. How you doing?
Gil, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to this World Series. People think it's David versus Goliath, but some of the numbers would say that David's better than Goliath. If you look at the offensive numbers and the bullpen numbers, Toronto really stacks up to me with the Dodgers offensively. And if you just kind of look at that, sorry to get right into it, but if you look at that weighted runs created plus number, last 2 months, the Blue Jays are 7 points higher than the Dodgers, and so that's pretty recent numbers. I think all the cast of characters for the Dodgers are in that, except maybe Smith was injured a little bit. But I think offensively they stack up. I think bullpen wise they stack up. But starting pitching, I'm going to kind of do what you did on the ESPN show the other day. I'm going to give you all the cases for Toronto, and then I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
That's exactly what I did.
I'm just kidding.
That's exactly what I did. Joe Fortenbaugh pointed out, he was like, excellent analysis. Then you go with the Dodgers at the end.
But you look good on the show. That's the most important thing. Your stylist is 100% right there.
My stylist. Yes. So here's what I said on that show. Here's what I've said on this show, and I'm curious to what degree what you're talking about sort of jibes with this, which is, right, I said, when Joe Pita was on here, and he sort of reminded me, he's like, hey, when we used to bet, me and him, when we used to bet on the Royals in 2015, the Giants in 2014, that they exhibited the same characteristics, many of the same characteristics as this Toronto Blue Jays team, which is to say they don't strike out, right? They put a lot of batted balls in play. And on defense, they turn a lot of batted balls into outs. They have a proficiency to turn double plays. That is a pretty let's put it, it's not under the radar, but our eyes don't necessarily process that from a game-to-game basis. Here's the other sort of historical comparison my buddy Chris Bruno was talking about, which is the 1990 World Series, if you remember, was the one where the Reds swept the Athletics. And remember that year that the Athletics were the Goliath, right, coming off a World Series win in the Earthquake Series the year before. And the Reds were not given much of a chance. And some of the comparisons there, the Reds finished the previous year in fifth place with 75 wins, 17 games back. Toronto finished last season fifth place with 74 wins and 20 back. Oakland won the World Series the prior years, just like the Dodgers, as I mentioned. In 1990, the Reds came out of nowhere to win their division, just like Toronto. Oakland swept to get into the 1990 World Series and looked great. It looked unbeatable, just like the Dodgers. Oakland was at least minus 300 to win the World Series in 1990. Dodgers are what? Currently minus, north of $2, but rising. Wait, there's more. Sample size of teams sweeping, as we know, to get to the World Series that played 7 to get there is small, but shouldn't be ignored. In other words, the rust factor is real, talking about teams that have swept versus teams that went the full 7 in the championship series. The Reds had the home field, just like Toronto. The 90 Reds had beloved Yankee Lou Piniella. Toronto has Don Mattingly, so there's all kinds of non-quantifiable things as well. And basically what he's saying is, look at all these comparisons. The only difference I point out was, the only big difference is the Reds' bullpen was fantastic, and this Blue Jays one isn't. Put all that in the wash for us. Does this have historical comparisons that make you take notice?
I don't think any of this is historical. This Dodgers starting pitching is just... I ran the numbers yesterday, and I kind of want to give you perspective. I'm excited about it. I've never seen this. So this is September starts and October starts. Dodgers starting pitching. The guys who are going to start this in this series: Glasnow, Ohtani, Snell, and help me out here.
Yamamoto.
Who's the
Yamamoto
and Yamo? How could I forget about Yamo? Be there, but all those guys in September and October. Their starts, 33.9% strikeout rate. The walk rate's about average, 8%, but the ground ball percentage, this surprised me, 55.1%, which is super low, a 2.52 median ERA. So they're going to have to get past that, Gil, to be able to beat this team. I think that there's a little bit of value, Gil, with the Blue Jays. I've got the series priced at plus 195, so they can get it like plus 230-ish or something like that, but... talk about pitchers. I can name 2 of the pitchers for the A's. It was Stewart and Welch. I don't know if you can get the other 2, but you're right. They had better starting pitching there. But you're right. The bullpens for me, the Dodgers aren't very good either. They're 11th in baseball, and the Blue Jays are 12th. So I would agree with you on that.
Do you have a bet in Game 1 tonight?
No, I don't know why they're using Savage. I don't think that's the right deal. I thought that they were going to go with Gausman. I'd like Gausman in Game 1 if they were going to go that way. But I'm going to pass on this. The one play that I'll give out because it's kind of a fun play. It's the player to get the most hits in the series. And if you look at the pricing, it's kind of right along the lines of who's got the best batting average. So that's kind of how they priced it. So I think the pricing from that perspective is pretty good. But I'm going to go with Kirk, Alejandro Kirk at 9-1. And this is one of the reasons I like this. So he is in the top 10 percentile at hitters going to right field. In all of baseball, top 10%. The right fielder for the Dodgers, Teoscar Hernandez, is in the bottom 10% with, you're going to love this one, range rating, outs above average in range rating. So I think we might get a couple freebies if he goes the opposite field and Hernandez, he's been bad out there in right field.
I love you, man. I love that kind of stuff from you. Anything, so Alejandro Kirk, most hits, 9-1 in this World Series.
I was given a fist pump off camera, Mark, because
Kelly loves a hamburger.
I did look up these odds yesterday. I wrote them up for a graphic, and I was like, man, I really want to play Alejandro Kirk because I love him. So I'm in with you, Mark. Let's go.
Think of me because he's got tremendous back control in the zone. So think of me when he just kind of like in softball, when you hit it down the line, you can kind of get in on it, get it right down the line. I think he'll get a couple of those hits, Kelly.
I like it.
So.
You dabbling in the MVP market at all, Mark?
I'm going to pass on that. I think that that's about. It's really hard to predict those things. I liked your pick though, Bats. I mean, that's as good as any,
Yeah. And then so just to clarify, so beyond Alejandro Kirk, 9-1 most hits. You are playing the Blue Jays and your number is what again? Plus 190, you said was the fair
plus
price?
195. So plus 195. It's a 65-35% Dodgers are going to win. But I think this series could. I mean, they got a 35% chance, Gil. So it could go. The Blue Jays could do it.
Yeah. Should be fun. The World Series. Nothing else, Mark? Though that was the one. That's your one play. The hits.
That's about it. It's priced pretty good. Hats off to the bookmakers. They did a pretty good job pricing this, Gil.
Good job on Yamo Be There as well, Mark. Can't let that go untouched. Well done.
Have a great weekend, guys.
You too.
You too, Mark.
Thanks so much. Are you familiar with Yamo Be There?
Yeah, he's also made that reference at least 5 times before on the show.
Michael McDonald, James Ingram.